Mystery Bros. Mystery Bros.
Mystery Bros.
Mystery Bros.
Mystery Bros.
Mystery Bros.
Mystery Bros.
All right. So, what's up, everybody? This is now episode 11 of Mystery Bros.
Getting up there.
I know, yeah, I'm excited. That's including a couple episodes that we've found recently have had some audio issues, I believe.
We'll definitely go back.
Yeah, we're going to go back and redo those episodes. So yeah, we're going to go back and redo those eventually, but we found there was some sort of mic issue where like the audio kept cutting in and out, and it's weird. But anyway, so yeah, we're going to redo those episodes. If you see that there's some episodes that are mysteriously just missing, we're sorry about that. We're going to redo them and fix it soon.
Yes.
But today we are doing episode 11, which is we're going to do another little two-parter episode. So it's going to kind of be split into half, So first half, we're going to talk about Amelia Earhart and the mystery behind her disappearance and what happened there. And then for the second half, we are going to talk about the USS, what is it?
Ourang Medan.
Ourang Medan.
Yeah.
The SS Ourang Medan, which is a super weird, mystery, dude. It's a crazy story. I actually was playing this video game that was based on that, and I didn't even know. I thought it was just like a creepy, scary video game. Then they made up a story, but apparently, this is like a true story.
Based off a true story.
It's based off a true story, which is crazy. So I'm excited about that. That's a super weird, creepy, mysterious one. First, we're going to talk about Amelia Earhart, which isn't quite so scary or creepy or anything, but it is still a mystery.
Yes.
As to what happened to her and where she's at. She's probably just flying around still, right? She's probably just flying around right now, right? I wonder if we might be able to go a whole nother episode here without talking about aliens. We haven't talked about aliens in a little bit. We didn't talk about them at all in the Zodiac Killer. We didn't talk about them all in. We did talk about them a little bit in the
Ark of the Covenant.
In the Ark of the Covenant, but it shouldn't have been talked about now. We're just a little alien happy. We like aliens, all right? Aliens are cool. They exist for sure, but all right, yeah. So let's go ahead and get into Amelia Earhart, and then we'll get into the SS Ourang Medan.
Of course, yeah. The Amelia Earhart, the sweetheart of America.
Sweetheart of America.
Also known as the Babe in the Sky.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's her nickname, Babe in the Sky.
Broad in the Sky, huh? I know that. Sorry, I don't mean to be sexist, but that was... That Babe in the Sky sounds like kind of a sexist thing to say. Jeez. This was back in the, 50s?
No, dude, this is back in the 20s.
Oh, geez, okay, yeah, this is a long time ago. Okay, so...
Yeah, so in 1928...
So excuse the sexism. It was just the times.
Talk about Amelia Earhart. She was a pilot and author. Earhart was the first female aviator to fly solo.
She's an author, too?
Yeah, she wrote some books.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we'll go down and read some books later.
Yeah, for sure. We should read some Amelia Earhart.
Yeah, so she was the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean. She set many other records. She wrote the best-selling books about her flying experience. She was instrumental in the formation of the 99s, an organization for female pilots.
Okay.
She was born in Atkinson, Kansas. Earhart developed a passion at a young age, steadily gaining flying experience from her 20s. That's where she really got a flying experience. She saw a lot of planes in the sky, and she was very drawn to flying.
She was younger?
Yeah, when she was younger. Okay. So since we're also kind of in the coronavirus pandemic, back in the Spanish flu pandemic of 1918, she lived in Toronto. She was doing her nursing duties that included night shifts at Spadina Military Hospital.
Ooh.
She became a patient herself.
She caught the Spanish flu?
Yeah.
Oh.
She was hospitalized in early November of 1918, discharged in December after about 2 months of illness.
So she caught the Spanish flu and was sick for a couple months?
That's where she did some reading, poetry, and learning how to play the banjo, as well as studying mechanics.
A lot more than I've done in this quarantine.
And she was sick.
Yeah, and she actually had it too. So
she became very inspired in flying after Charles Lindbergh's solo flight in the Atlantic in 1927.
okay.
He was the first guy to fly over the Atlantic Ocean. You want to know a crazy story?
Yeah.
My stepdad's mom.
Okay.
So I guess my step grandma. She's now 103 years old. She saw.
She's still alive?
Yeah.
Ooh.
She saw Charles Lindbergh land in 1920s.
Really?
In 1927 in Paris.
Wow.
She was
went there?
She was there as a young kid.
That's cool.
After Charles Lindbergh's solo flight crossed in 1927, she expressed interest in being the first woman to fly across the Atlantic Ocean. After deciding the trip was too perilous for her to undertake, she offered to sponsor the project, suggesting to find another girl with the right image while at work at the after 1928. Earhart got a phone call from Captain Hilton H. Riley, who asked, "Would you like to fly over the Atlantic?" And that's when her whole fascination of going across the ocean and flying and pursuing her careers really made a difference.
That's cool. That's cool. So she, at first, they were like, "We need a better looking girl or something." They were like, "We want." Wow, even back then, they were fucking really shallow. Huh? They're just like, it'd be cool for you to be the first woman to fly across, but you're not that hot. So how about we find someone that is, and we can just pretend that they've been doing this their whole life and want to fucking fly. That's so ridiculous. I can't believe that. But then eventually they were like, all right, we're going to let her do it.
Yeah.
I guess we can just put some makeup on her and we can. So stupid.
It's black and white photos back then anyway. So, So in 1928, she became the first passenger to fly over the Atlantic Ocean, albeit as a passenger. But in 1932, she was the first female pilot to fly over the Atlantic Ocean and onto the into the Newfoundland, which is in Ireland. She's only the second person ever to do that, and she overcame some huge bravery and courage on her flight. While she was going on her flight, she had oil leaks in the engine. Wow. As well as iced wings. And at some point, the engine caught on fire and it was on fumes, so she had to land on fumes. So it just shows her resilience in flying. And
she's a good pilot.
She's a good pilot, pilot.
This is just like some flights she was doing.
Yeah.
At some point, she had to land because the engine caught on fire.
No, this is part of her first flight over the Atlantic Ocean.
Oh, her first flight. Okay.
Yeah. So she's very resilient. She can fly.
Wow. Good pilot.
Yeah, she's a very good pilot. And then later on, she's also the first pilot to fly to Los Angeles to Newark, crossing the entire country without refueling. First pilot to do that.
Wow.
So she
from
had
LA to New Jersey, basically.
Yeah. Okay. Across the country. She wanted to be the first person to fly around the world. The trip was going to take her over 29,000 miles and over 42 days.
Damn. 42 days?
Yeah.
Okay, so she wanted to be the first person or the first woman?
Female. Yeah, first female.
The first woman to ever fly around the entire world in just one flight?
No, she's going to stop.
She's going to stop and refuel.
She's going to fly she's going to circumnavigate the entire world. That's crazy. So she set off on May 21st, 1937, with her co-pilot and navigator Noonan. They set off Oakland, California, and then looking to...
Were they going across the Pacific or were they going across America first?
They were going across America first. So on July 2nd, 42 days into her trip, she has about 7,000 miles left to go before she heads back to heads back to California. She was in New Guinea for her flight, and she's supposed to take off and head to Holland Island before her long, massive flight back to California. On her flight, it's supposed to note that the headwinds were stronger than normal that day. the the person in the tower, who's supposed to keep in contact with Amelia Earhart, was named Harry Belford. On the day that she took off, he sent 3 signals warning her that the headwinds are stronger than usual, better watch out, and might take longer for fuel consumption to do.
So she might use more fuel because the headwinds are really strong against her. Okay, just be aware of that, basically.
Yes.
Okay.
So that she might be taking up more fuel than usual, so keep a good eye on the fuel gauge.
Yeah.
But apparently, she never received those messages.
Ooh. How did you send those messages?
Radio.
Oh, okay.
However, she responded back, not to those messages, but she said that everything is fine. The speeds, he gave her speeds, he gave her altitude on a radar signal back to Harry Belford. And at that time, everything was fine. And then she mysteriously climbed 10,000 feet, which people don't know why she climbed 10,000 feet. That's really high.
Okay.
Especially at that time, why she climbed up. A lot of people think maybe she's trying to avoid clouds, trying to fly above the clouds. There might have been a storm in the area. There might have been some reasons she needs to be flying above. Ufologists.
What reasons?
Huh?
What reasons?
So like there's storms, so she might
So she want to maybe fly over the storm.
Like fly
That's
above
like the only
storm.
reason, right?
Mountains, but like it's kind of.
Was she over mountains?
Not really.
Yeah. So what?
Here we go. Ufologists say that she was maybe trying to avoid something, so
of course, dude, it was aliens, dude.
Then, anyways, so when
Not even 10 minutes in, and we're talking about aliens already.
Anyway, she flew up higher than normal. The boat, she made contact with the boat Itasca, which was near Holland Island. Okay. So they were expecting her arrival. The Itasca at one point thought they were so close to the plane that they would see Amelia Earhart. She said, "We must be on you. We cannot see you." And then she replied back, "Gas is running low." Last transmission was at 8:53 a.m. She said, "We're in line. We're in the line 157-3337, which is basically coordinates where she is near the island. We will repeat this message. We will repeat this on 6210 kilocycles. Wait. That's it.
Okay.
Last message ever. So she said, "We will repeat this in 6210 kilocycles. Wait." Last known message that she's ever sent. So she never landed, right? So the U.S. sent the biggest fleet ever to search and rescue to try to find Amelia Earhart.
Did she, when did they lose her on radar? When she jumped the 10,000 feet? Or when was her last, rate transmission? Or her last, known location?
When she gave out the coordinates near the Itasca.
Okay. That's crazy.
Yeah.
How long until they figured something was wrong?
Well, as soon as she didn't land, they knew that something was up. And that's just it was one of the most extensive U.S. searches in history back then. They were looking hard for this plane. Wow. In fact, they're still looking for this plane.
Still?
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to find it now, man. I think she probably crashed where, in an ocean or something?
Here are the theories.
Okay.
So let's get into the theories.
Okay.
So theory number 1, the most obvious answer to this question, the headwinds slowed her down. She was running out of gas. She didn't make it and crashed into the ocean.
Okay.
Theory number 1.
All right. Where was she about?
Near Holland Island. So she was near the islands.
Where are the Holland Islands?
Near New Guinea.
Okay, so down by Australia, New Zealand area?
Yeah, so this is in the Pacific. She disappeared.
Okay. How far off the land?
What do you mean? That's the mystery. That's where we don't know.
Okay.
We just know that she's by the island.
That was where did she fuel up there or something?
Yeah, that was the last. That was the last position she was supposed to fuel up before she was supposed to make the long trek back
across the Pacific.
Across Pacific.
Damn. And there were headwinds going against her,
Yeah.
which is going to make her use more fuel.
Skeptics claim, though, against that theory is that she was an experienced pilot. She would have known, like, there's headwinds. Like, she would have been aware of the gas situation. And they're saying that gas was running low, but she should have easily made it to the island. She was fully refueled at New Guinea.
Yeah.
So
even if there were heavy headwinds that were making her use a lot more fuel, what do you do if you, if she was in the air and she realized like, oh shit, there's some heavy headwinds, I might not make it. Then would she turn around and go back and wait for the headwinds to be done? Is that
no? She could have been the task of the boat. She made contact. She could have like told the boat something. Like I guess I have to do water landing over here.
Land on the boat.
Well, why do a water landing near the boat?
I feel like you would just turn around and go back if you realize the headwinds are, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But
right?
She didn't.
I know, but I'm just saying that would be the move, right? If you realize that, if it's too late, if you're in the air and you realize, oh shit, there's like some heavy headwinds I did not account for and I might not have enough fuel to get all the way there, and say you're only like a third of the way, then you just turn around, right? Turn around, go back, wait for the headwinds to end, refuel again.
Yeah.
Keep moving type of thing. Try it again the next day. Right? I feel like that's the move.
And unfortunately, she didn't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, so either she thought she was going to have enough fuel to make it, so she just kept going, or she didn't realize there was headwinds, but you think that she's an experienced pilot. They would know. She would know.
She would know. So that's why a lot of people are debating that. Like, oh, she just ran out of gas and went in the ocean. She's like an experienced pilot. She had engines fuming once at the ocean. When she crossed the Atlantic. Like, she should know if she was in danger. She should have reported it. She reported it last time. Why didn't she report it this time?
Yeah. What are some other theories?
Well, and something damaging about the theories too, Evan. They still have not found the plane.
Yeah,
they've been searching.
But the thing is, it could be at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean.
Well, they've been since 2017. They've been doing some deep sea scanning, searching.
Really,
and they can't find any evidence of the plane.
But there's a huge ocean there.
I know.
I'm saying moved. Like, it's a plane. It's not a ship. So
I know.
It could have floated away before it sunk, type of thing. You know what I mean?
I know. I'm just saying they've done some deep sea expeditions and they have not found the plane.
Yeah.
Theory number 2.
That doesn't surprise me though. That doesn't lead me to think, oh, some aliens took it or it's gone, it disappeared. It doesn't surprise me they haven't found it. Oceans are fucking huge.
According to aviators, it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah. What, they haven't found it?
Yeah. I don't know. Second thing is she was a castaway on a nearby island, Nikimo. When she realized she was losing fuel, she decided she went off course to the nearest land, and that would have been Nikimo. It's a small atoll.
Mm-hmm.
What they found there, a British colonial in 1939 found evidence of a fire, a sextant, and a partial human skeleton.
On that island?
On that atoll? On the atoll.
Is there civilizations on that atoll?
No.
No, it's abandoned,
It's abandoned.
Oh, okay. So he found a piston?
A sextant.
What is that?
It's like one of those things that you can like find out your where you are, location, like a navigation tool.
I see. Okay,
navigation tool.
Okay.
And the bones, so they did some analysis on the bones, but they said no, this can't be them. It belonged to a short man, so he threw the bones away. So it's like it ate them, trash them. However, they've been doing some more photo analysis on the pictures, and they said that the bones could have been to a larger than normal female, which she was. She was 5'7", so she's a little bigger than average female.
Okay.
Could have been those, but since
Yeah,
you
back in the 30s, 5'7" was probably really tall for a girl.
but
That was tall for a man, I think, back then, honestly, wasn't it?
I'm 5'7".
Yeah, but back then people were shorter, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm shorter. Anyways, so when they did the analysis, but since the doctor threw away the effing bones, we can never do it for DNA testing or anything because the bones are gone. So
yeah.
there goes anyways to ever find that mystery out.
So they just looked at the bones and said, "Oh, these are from a man."
Yeah, back then there's no DNA testing, so you just, oh yeah, these are men. It's not them. Throw them away.
Okay, toss them.
Yeah.
Well, that's stupid, and we can't go back and find any more of those bones. They collected.
He burned them.
He burned them.
Yes.
Why? It's so silly. Okay, so that's a possibility that she landed on that island, but there's no sign of the plane or anything.
So there's a picture looking like there's a tail like a tail coming out of the water of the picture near the island. And they're saying that the landing gear, the radio, apparently after Amelia Earhart disappeared, some radio people were like, "Oh, I heard Amelia Earhart. Like she's lost. She's stranded. We need her help." Like they got so many reports. There's one credible report near the island. Someone picked up named Betty Klang had a ham radio. She heard a female voice say, "This is Amelia Earhart. Help me." The voice was arguing with a male voice. And then she said, "The water's knee deep. Let me out." So
who was the man she was arguing with?
Her navigator, Billy Noonan.
He was with her?
Yes. They both disappeared.
The funny thing is, I didn't even know that. I didn't even know there was someone else with her.
Yeah, the navigator.
Does anybody know that?
Yeah.
I feel like nobody even knows that. I did not know that until you literally just said it. That there was another person with her who died and disappeared too.
Yeah, the navigator.
Wow. They just don't really ever mention that in the stories of Amelia Earhart, I feel like. That's crazy.
No, her navigator went missing too. So that one, so they reported it, but the Coast Guard didn't take it seriously because they've literally heard "Oh, I heard Amelia Earhart here."
Why do they think this one is real?
Because it's by the island. It's close to the island.
Okay, it's close to the Okay.
Himaromo. So that's why they think this one could be legit if she's telling the truth. If she actually heard that.
But none of this is recorded or anything because back then,
No.
they didn't have any of that stuff, right?
Yeah. Back in 1939, this guy found a shoe on the island.
Okay.
And it had the Cat's Paw Rubber Company on it.
Cat's Paw Rubber Company?
Yeah.
Okay.
On the shoe. And that's a shoe that Amelia Earhart is wearing in one of her photos. But it belongs to a size 9. And
she doesn't wear a size 9.
She doesn't wear a size 9. So that's probably like a...
I think I've heard that story before.
Yeah,
they found a shoe and but it doesn't match her size.
Yeah.
So that can't be hers then.
They also found aluminum on the island from a plane. But both experts, the person who worked on Amelia Earhart's plane, disproved that was from Amelia Earhart's plane. So there's that theory that she cast away on Himaromo.
But she had no way to contact anybody, so she couldn't
Yeah.
Back then, she got stranded there, and she was basically stuck there. Right?
And apparently, there's a lot of deadly things on that island, so you're not gonna survive long.
A lot of deadly snakes and spiders and shit.
Crabs that eat you.
Crabs that'll eat you, dude. Can you imagine being eaten by crabs?
Well,
that's got to be the worst thing ever.
You'll be dead by then.
They would just eat your dead body.
Yeah.
What if you got injured or something? Or
they're these. I don't know. There has to be a lot of crabs. These aren't huge, gigantic.
Yeah, I don't know, man. If you got bit by some weird poisonous snake that just the venom just paralyzes you, and then you just get eaten alive by crabs.
And you see 100 crabs coming at you.
You can't move. Oh, that's terrible.
All right.
That's the worst.
Yeah.
That's probably the worst way to die, be eaten alive by crabs.
So that's what could have happened to Amelia Earhart.
Okay.
So let's get into some of the more juicy theories, shall we?
The weirder ones.
Yeah. So the next theory that is that she was a pilot / spy. Theory goes that she was actually helping the U.S. military at this time. What she was going to do is she was going to be secret, and she was going to dump her plane on the nearby Marshall Islands, and land there, and then do some reconnaissance because the Marshall Islands belonged to the Imperial Japanese. This was right before World War II, so this was the Japanese Empire that owned the Marshall Islands. And she was going to spy on the Japanese, and the U.S. would pick her up on their reconnaissance flight. She was a spy for the U.S. And people who acknowledge this theory are the inhabitants of Malaysia. They have long have said that they've seen her plane land here, and that's where her plane has been, and that's where she is.
Okay.
That's where she landed. And then what happened was that she got captured. So the U.S. never did reconnaissance flight and picked her up.
And they knew who she get captured by?
The Japanese.
Oh.
Right, yeah.
Oh. That's crazy. So they think she may have been captured by Japanese and they thought that she was a spy?
Yeah.
They think that she was killed?
Well, there's two parts of the theory.
Okay.
One theory says that she was let out after war. She got a different name and changed it to Irene Bowman. And she lived the rest of her life out as Irene Bowman. Bowman is sued a couple publishers for like promoting this theory, saying that she was Amelia Earhart. And a lot of people said there's not much similarities there.
Yeah.
Could you imagine someone accusing you for being someone else?
So they just accused that this girl Irene Bowman.
Yeah.
What is she? Does she look? She doesn't look like it. Would
she looks like Amelia Earhart a little bit, but like
is she like same age, kind of like?
And her mysteries, and her past, kind of a mystery.
Oh.
Or why do you need to go undercover? Why didn't you just switch your name?
Yeah. I don't know.
The other theory is that the plane went down. She got captured by the Japanese. The plane went down the ocean. She got captured by the or like the plane went down the ocean, or she got captured by the Japanese somehow, and they killed her and Noonan. Supporting this theory is U.S. Sergeant Thomas. He's in 1944 on the island of Saipan. Said he saw the plane of Amelia Earhart, and it was destroyed by Japanese authorities before we could get there. But He says the plane was there. So another theory is the Japanese have killed Amelia Earhart. However, there's no record on the Japanese side that this ever happened.
I see. Who made up these theories? Who's saying this?
A U.S. Sergeant Thomas.
Okay.
He claims,
there's not really much to back that up, though, right?
No. He said, "Yeah, I saw the plane.
Japanese people or something."
Japanese burned the plane. Yeah.
This guy just has a grudge against Japanese people.
Yeah. So it's definitely another theory of what happened to Amelia Earhart. I think it's just kind of strange that they haven't found the plane in such a long time.
Yeah, that is weird, But although I guess, no, I was saying earlier, I don't really think that's too crazy because the ocean's fucking huge, man. And it could have, even if it crashed in the Pacific, just the way currents work and like it's a plane, not a boat. So it wouldn't, it's not quite as big. It might not sink right away. And it could get carried. It could be anywhere. You know what I mean? I feel like it could be anywhere.
That definitely could be, but it's just a mystery that a lot of research has been done trying to find this plane. We can't find it.
Yeah. Yeah, it is weird. Our next topic's also pretty fucking weird. We're going to be talking here about the SS Ourang Medan.
Oh, yeah.
Crazy.
This is a pretty crazy incident that happened pretty soon after the war.
Yeah. This was in what? It was in June of 1947.
or 48, depending on the newspaper source.
Depending on what you read. Huh?
So it just comes
This one's
out
a little mysterious, right?
Yeah. So it just comes out that the U.S. Coast Guard in 1952 came out with the story. That's how we pretty much know about it.
Okay, that's what it came from.
Yeah.
And it's super interesting. Like the story goes, in June 1947, they what was it Dutch who received the Morse code?
So they're on the Straits of Malacca.
Okay.
And they sent a Morse code signal to all the nearby ships in the strait.
Oh, okay. And a ship heard the Morse code signal, and the Morse code signal went, SOS from Ourang Medan. We float. All officers, including the captain, dead in chart room and on the bridge. Probably whole crew dead.
That's
an eerie message to get, right? In the fucking as an SOS. I mean, that was what they heard.
That's
crazy. I'm sure that they were just like, what the fuck, right?
Yeah.
Like, could you imagine getting that fucking message? Like, you're reading Morse code and that's what you get.
I'd be like,
are you sure I translated that right?
I would probably be more like, I never heard this. I'm not going to go investigate that.
Oh, yeah? You would just say, fuck them? No. That's not good. That would be very eerie to get that message.
That was definitely very strange. Like, that would definitely be like, ooh, what is this? I'd be on the red alert.
Yeah, you got to let somebody know real quick. But so I think that there was 20 minutes in between, and they got another message, and the last message just said, I die.
Which is
even worse.
Creepy.
That's even more creepier than the original message. Weird, man. That's super weird.
If I got that kind of message, that means what happened? That everyone just got wiped out. I would probably think of a pirate attack.
Yeah, right. You would think of there had to be some sort of attack. This was also in 1947, so it's right after the war had ended. So you could think maybe they were being attacked by some. Side note. There's still some people from Japan on islands that think that World War II is still going on, and they're still fighting and shit.
Really?
Yeah, there's a few. It's a crazy story.
I gotta go look that up.
We could look into that at some point, but. What if it was one of those crazy Japanese boats that didn't know that the fight was over and they started attacking or something? That's what I would probably think if I heard that. I'd be like, "What's going on? Ship's in trouble. What could be happening?"
Right.
But yeah, there actually are. There's still people on islands in the Pacific that think the war is still going on, or at least this was up until the 70s and 80s. They found people.
Oh yeah, probably now, Evans. Probably.
I don't know about now still, but
yeah,
there were still up until the 80s.
I can see that, but I don't think anymore. I feel like it's a little.
That's still 40 years. What makes that any different than 60? Right now it'd be about. Right now it's almost 100 years. It's
80,
90-ish years since the war. So since it's over, it'd be 80 something. But yeah, so that's weird. So they just get that super creepy message, the first one, basically saying everyone in the boat's dead, possibly the whole crew. And then they get another one that just says, I die.
Yeah.
So that is super creepy. And then obviously they wasn't it some Dutch military or something, they triangulated the source?
Yeah.
Yeah, so some Dutch military captains, they triangulated the source.
And Silver Star, they were the closest one, and they eventually located the ship.
Yep. So they found the ship. It was in the Indian Ocean, right?
Right, and when they called out to it, it looked normal. It doesn't look like any damage from the outside.
Yeah, it was weird. It looked just like a floating ship, basically, they said, right? It was just kind of floating there. There was no signs of stress or anything. It wasn't on fire.
No signs of stress. No sign of struggle.
Yeah, it was just really weird. So they were like, "Huh, what's going on here?" So once they finally located it, they boarded it. It was basically everyone was just dead. Everyone was just lying where they were dead,
frozen, like they were trying to fend something off.
Yeah, that's the weird part about it. Is they say that they were lying dead, like frozen in like frightened poses and like strange poses that don't make any sense. Like almost like there was like some force, like they saw themselves about to die, like they saw some monster come up at them, and like their faces were just frozen
like that. Like shocked.
Really strange, and they were
even the
weren't
dog.
they kind of like they were like stiff, like they were in rigor
they were
mortis?
stiff. They were stiff. They were very stiff, and they like just like froze in that position. Like they just like froze.
It says their bodies were found sprawled on their backs. The frozen and allegedly badly frightened faces of the deceased upturned to the sun above, with mouths gaping open and eyes staring straight ahead, with the corpses resembling horrible caricatures. That was a clip from the Wikipedia article. So that's pretty crazy. What? And it's weird. Like, what could you?
And they said even when they went to the captain's room, it looked like the crew was barricading themselves.
They were barricading themselves in, sort of.
Yeah, so it looked like.
Yeah.
And they also said that in the boiler room, where it gets sometimes over 170 degrees, they found a chill in the air, and even they couldn't escape the freezing. Look.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing I remember seeing, that, like, they said that, like, the temperature in the room was really hot. Like,
not like 107. Probably it was more like 130, I would guess.
It's still pretty hot.
Yeah.
They said the temperature in the room was really hot, but they felt a chill in the room, which is interesting. One of the people on the rescue boat, it said all people dead, found frozen in fear, arms outstretched, and looked like they were frightening. It looked like they were fighting something. So that's
what were they
really
fighting?
weird.
It's crazy.
Yeah, like what could they be fighting? Weird.
Sea monsters exist after all.
Yeah.
We haven't really gone to many sea monsters. Sea monsters have not been mentioned on Mystery Bros, really.
No, we haven't talked much about that. We should do an episode on like cryptozoology, and we'll talk about like the Loch Ness monster.
Yeah.
Like, so far, we haven't really talked much about sea monsters.
No.
I'm not even sure if we will here. I don't think that's a theory. But you're looking at me like it is.
I think it's a theory. What else would they be fighting off?
How are they all just frozen dead then?
I don't know. Maybe like it's like a what? Like it comes out from the water instead of freezing fire. Like instead of breathing fire, it's like a dragon that like.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Spits out ice.
Yeah, definitely. That makes sense. Of course, we just figured it out. It's a frozen ice dragon.
We solved the mystery. Anyway, I don't know. Oh my god, let's go home, man.
Anyway, continuing. All the people that were on the rescue boat, they couldn't really find, like, there was no cause of death. Like nobody was like stabbed or shot or no wounds really, right? It was just they were just dead. And
there's no damage to the boat itself.
Yeah. One thing that they did notice is that the corpses were all kind of decomposing much faster than they should have naturally. Like when they got the Mayday signal, the SOS, to when they found the boat, it's like they shouldn't have been decomposed that much, which is strange. Like maybe there's, we'll get into later some theories, but chemicals, that kind of thing. But yeah, so they were decomposing much faster than they think.
Yeah,
or than they should have been. Which is
definitely crazy.
Yeah, super weird. So yeah. Basically, like we said, there was literally no survivors. Even the person that gave the Mayday signal, they went into the like communications room, like the radio room, and he was just like dying, dead on it, which is crazy. Yeah, and you were saying before there was even a dog that had the same fate. He was just frozen, dead. Mm-hmm. And when we say frozen, we don't mean like cold, like actually frozen. We mean like stiff, stuck in time. Yeah. They were just like frozen in time, basically, is what it seemed like. And they were very stiff from rigor mortis and stuff. So they looked around the whole ship. Like we said, they noticed that there were some areas on the ship that were like, they were like temperature wise, they were normal. They were even a little bit hot, but there was like, you could feel chills.
Yeah.
Which is weird. Like, what could that be,
Yeah, something cold.
Yes, it's strange. It's strange.
Maybe they had like a bunch of Coors Light on the ship, and like the fridge opened up, and
they couldn't handle that Rocky Mountain Coors Light cold, fresh beer. I wonder if Coors Light was around back then.
maybe that's where Coors Light started. Maybe
Maybe
they were carrying the ingredients.
That's the secret to Coors Light. It was, yeah. Anyway, it killed a whole boat full of people because it was so cold. That's why they have the cold activated cans now, so you can tell if it's too cold or not. Anyway, so they check out the whole ship. Can't really find anything. They didn't really go over the whole ship, but they like did a nice sweep. They found like tons of weird frozen dead bodies. Like couldn't figure out what was going on.
They wanted to bring it back to port for
they
further
wanted to bring it
investigation.
back. So they decide that they're going to try and tow it back to the port to do a more of an investigation. And while they were towing it, they basically tie the rope to it, get it tied onto their ship, and right when that happens, a fire breaks out, right in one of the lower decks, right, one of the engine rooms. A fire breaks out, and there's a big explosion, and it basically the ship sunk after that. They barely had time to untie it from their ship before it just
apparently something
sunk.
from the boiler room went off.
Yeah, something in the boiler room caught fire, exploded, and then the ship sank
Down to the bottom.
Yeah,
definitely strange. It's one of the strangest stories that is out there. It's one of the creepiest stories, if true.
It sucks. It sucks that we didn't get a chance to investigate it more. You know what I mean? We would have known. I bet you if they could tow it back to some port and do some investigation, they could have figured out what happened, like some sort of chemical or something.
Right.
Something. We're going to get into some theories, but without going too deep into them, like they could have, done some sort of tests and figured out what caused that to happen.
Right.
If they would have had a chance to tow it back.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just a little convenient too that can't tow it back. It just sunk.
Exploded.
Yeah.
That's what skeptics would say is like, oh, it's so convenient that it just happened to sink and there's no evidence of it, blah, blah, blah. Which, you're right.
You're right.
It sucks, but sometimes shit happens. The reason that this has even been brought up and stuff is because wasn't there was a letter written to the director of the CIA back in the 50s, right?
No, so the CIA director's assistant wrote this letter in May 29th, 1958.
Okay.
So do you want me to read the letter?
Yeah.
So he says, I sent you a letter concerning the crews disappearing from the ship on the high seas, or ships which have disappeared without a trace. Well, I have just read a weird story concerning the Dutch vessel SS Ourang Medan. Medan.
Ourang Medan.
Goes on to say, I will be indeed grateful for your opinion of this story. Also, do you think something from the unknown is involved?
But this was the assistant director of the CIA?
Yes. Hold on, let me just read the ending of it.
Okay.
So it goes on to say, I feel sure that the SS Ourang Medan tragedy holds the answer to many of these airplane accidents and unsolved mysteries of the sea. Also, I have often thought about the many sightings of huge ferry ships from huge spheres rising from the sea, or disappearances into the sea, by ships and captains and crew in 18th and 19th centuries. In the 18th and 19th centuries, there are alarming passages in the old chronicles written in the medieval Latin and Latin books printed before the year 15 AD, which suggested that these fiery spheres caused destruction and that they came from within our planet. For instance, in the 216 BC, things like ships were seen in the sky over Italy. In Sardinia, a knight was making his rounds, inspecting the post. The same thing happened. In Rome, a soldier in Sicily saw their javelins flames burn in their hands. and a round shield was seen in the sky. Also, in 1067 AD, people saw a fire that flamed and burned fiercely into the sky. It came near the earth, and from the little time brilliant lit up afterwards, it revolved and ascended into a high and then ascended into the sea. In several places, it burned woods and plains. Yes, the enchanted sea was terrifying. Secret does it hold. I feel sure that the SS Ourang Medan tragedy holds the answer to the secret. So he thinks it's these yellow spheres that have something to do with this incident.
This was the assistant director to the CIA.
Yeah.
And didn't they, like, once they released this, they redacted who it was sent to?
Yes,
though?
we don't know who it's sent to.
We don't know who they sent this to.
Like, just an ordinary person reading this kind of seems like, oh, this CIA guy's a little out there.
Yeah, I mean, this is the whole reason that anyone really knows about this, right? Or anyone
the U.S.
even
Coast
believes
Guard.
that.
There's
a few news articles that came out back then, right?
Well, the U.S. Coast Guard is official one. There's just newspaper. It was in newspaper articles, but the U.S. Coast Guard was one who came out with the story.
Okay.
So what a lot of people have trouble with, it's not on any of the ship records.
Yes, I've heard that. Like they don't see the Ourang Medan on any ship records, but weren't they like sort of kind of considered like a smuggling ship?
Yes,
something?
They said like since they were doing the chemicals,
yes,
from the Japanese, that it was maybe like a top secret or like classified ship that was not on any public records.
Yes,
and that would make sense why the FBI director would be writing this letter, because he knows that this actually happened. Like they have records of this.
Yeah,
it's just not publicized.
Military knows, but they just didn't put it out publicly because it was possibly doing some shady stuff.
Yes.
Which is what we're going to get into now, as to some theories of what may have happened to the crew.
Yes,
and stuff.
Definitely. And the Silver, like people also tried to like say the Silver Star never existed. That actually was a ship.
Yeah, it was named something else at the time, wasn't it? It was named the Santa Juana. And then once an American company bought the ship, they changed the name to the SS Silver Star.
Yes.
So it's it's a crazy situation. So we'll get into some theories about what may have possibly happened to the crew and what happened to the ship. So, as we said, a lot of people believe the Ourang Medan might have been involved in some smuggling operations, particularly in chemicals, substances like that, secret stuff that different armies were trying out as possible chemical warfare back then. Because, man, dude, World War II, there was some really crazy like chemical and biological warfare going on in World War II. It was pretty nasty. I'm pretty sure after that they like came up with these rules of like stuff that you can and can't use during war. We're getting off topic. So a lot of people thought it was involved in some smuggling operations of chemical substances. A couple things that have been suggested: the combination of potassium cyanide and nitroglycerin. Or even like certain types of nerve agents, because that's the kind of stuff that they were experimenting with back then in the 40s.
I mean, it would definitely explain like, I guess their crazy look, but like their shock of fear, like that's. You think that's the result of the chemical?
Let me continue. So according to some of these theories, seawater would have entered the ship's hold and reacted with the cargo, which released toxic gases, which then caused the crew to succumb to asphyxia and or poisoning, which could possibly if you're inhaling a crazy nerve agent, you're gonna like get off, like you would be in like a fucked up position. Now, as far as they're saying, like it looked like they were like trying to fight something off, maybe. That's a little weird, but who knows what happens when you die? Like, you know what I mean? If you're dying from inhaling some weird chemical, you might you know what I mean? You could get into a position where it looks like you're trying to fight something off. I mean, there's a lot of there's a lot of theories within that. Like I said, there was like potassium cyanide, nitroglycerin, because those were common at the time. Another theory is that they think the ship may have been transporting a special nerve gas, which the Japanese military had been storing. And they basically some stuff that they used on China during the war. Messed up. But it was handed over to the U.S. military at the end of the war because they lost, and we were like, hey, you can't have that, so we're taking it. And it could have been some of that kind of stuff that was in there and then got loose. Like basically, obviously, you have to subscribe to the fact that something happened and it got released. You know what I mean?
Yeah, something definitely happened.
Because it's not like they were. I don't think anyone's suggesting that like they were used. It was used on them. I think that they're suggesting that they were storing it and it just got loose or got leaked somehow. They believe we may have been transporting a special type of nerve gas that the Japanese military had, and that they had used on China at some point. The Japanese military had some like crazy.
They've done some effed up shit.
Some really messed up like chemical stuff that they were doing during the war, and they had this like one.
You think Dr. Mangala was bad?
Yeah, the Japanese had some pretty bad stuff too, and they were doing some crazy experiments on people, and they think that there may have been some sort of nerve agent that they were using, and they were storing, and they said that they had to hand this over to the U.S. military because the war had ended and they lost, but that no U.S. ship could transport this because there would be a paper trail of that. You know, they don't want people to know that they had these chemicals.
Definitely.
So that's why like there's no
public record of the ship. Which
that's
makes
why
sense.
there's no public record of the ship, and there was no paper trail, and then those chemicals, got loose. Unfortunately. And then there's another theory basically saying like carbon monoxide. Because apparently the theory that an undetected smoldering fire or malfunction in the ship's boiler system may have been responsible for the shipwreck, which meant there was some sort of problem with the fire, and carbon monoxide was coming out and would have caused the deaths of all aboard. The fire slowly spreading out of control, leading to the vessel's ultimate destruction. Because it eventually exploded and sunk. So they're saying that maybe it was just some sort of fire down in like one of the rooms that they didn't notice it, and it just so much carbon monoxide built up, then got released out into the ship. Everyone like died from it, and then the fire eventually exploded. That one's a little strange. I think if you're asking me, I think it has more to do with some strange chemicals that they were carrying that got loose. That's definitely some stuff.
I definitely want to know how the CIA got to the fireball theory.
Yeah. Also, real quick, just to go a little more in depth, some people have even said that they know the chemical that they think it was called Tobin or Tabin, which is an extremely toxic nerve agent that the Japanese and the Germans were using in World War II and did a lot of experiments with and/or attacks using.
So it could have been Tabin. It could have been released. Yeah,
that they were taking it from the Japanese, smuggling it back to America.
But it's interesting that the party, like the surviving, like the party search party, didn't have any gas detected when they came in.
Yeah, you're right. That is kind of interesting. That
must have dissipated.
It's possible. Yeah, it's possible that it could have been
just like a really big boom, and they kind of just.
Yeah, maybe it slowly leaked out and filled the ship, killed everybody, and then kind of dissipated, went away by the time that people got there. I mean, they were even saying that like some rooms felt like there was a chill or something. Like that could have just been like after effects of it. You know what I mean? Basically, the main knock on this is that the SS Ourang Medan does not show up in any shipping records.
Yeah.
And that it just happened to explode and sink before they could bring anything back, get any sort of evidence.
Yeah.
Which sucks. I wish it would have never sank, man. I wish
that could have been cool.
God, if we could have it wouldn't have been as mysterious. I think we would have figured out what happened. So it would have just been a cool story, or not a cool story, but like it would have been a really interesting story about like some chemicals or whatever ended up happening. But still,
I also find it interesting that this letter was classified for such a long time.
yeah. When did the letter be released? When was the letter released?
2003.
2003 is when the letter finally was released. Okay.
Written in 1959, so over 40 years.
Wow, long time that letter was. Yeah, man. I mean, what do you think it was? Do you think it had anything to do with the mysterious fireballs in the sky that the CIA director talks about, or do you think it was chemicals, or do you think it was something else, maybe carbon monoxide?
I think if it isn't on any shipping records, it would have to be chemicals. I think they would have to be smuggling something. But what I do find compelling is why would the CIA director like think that it would be like a fireball incident or something? He knows.
Why would he talk about that?
He would only know. He knows if the incident. The CIA would know if the incident actually happened or not, since it was a U.S. such ship.
Yeah, definitely.
So we do know if the story's true or not. Like it's either in our like one of our classified ship like records or it's not.
Mm-hmm. And I just think it's like, I don't know if I believe the fireball thing that has anything to do with it. I think that with the fireball in the sky, like they're kind of talking about aliens, right? Or like UFOs or something.
Yeah.
That's basically what they're talking about, which I'm not saying is silly because obviously we believe in aliens and UFOs, all that kind of stuff. But I just don't think that it had anything to do with this situation. I think this situation can be explained better with chemical, some sort of chemical reaction, some sort of chemical release. You don't very often hear like about like UFO encounters where like everybody just is like frozen dead in time. You know what I mean? Like that usually isn't the way that goes.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't think that the UFOs or aliens had anything to do with this.
Well, it could have been that they maybe went on this theory is that when they looked at the ship records of what the ship actually contained, that maybe like all this gas theory is just like some theory that we made up. They might have not been carrying like any toxic chemicals. So they might have been looking for another explanation. But I'm saying maybe they found that there's no way that this was carrying these kind of chemicals. So they like maybe
so that's why they came up with the other theory.
With another theory.
The CIA guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting story. I wish we could have figured out.
I wish there's like a little more evidence to go off of.
I know.
So there's also like another damning thing about it is like there's a similar story floating around in 1940, except it was in the Solomon Islands. So somebody said like they could have copied the story, but it's really strange that the U.S. the U.S. Coast Guard came out with the stories. That's how a lot of people know about it in the 50s. So that is strange that the U.S. itself came out with the story.
Yeah, I think it's hard to say it didn't happen when you're right. There's the U.S. Coast Guard coming out with the story, and it's mentioned directly in this letter written from a CIA,
the assistant director
to the CIA, written to no one knows. It's classified who that was written
aliens.
To. Written to George Bush from the future.
It was written to the lizard people.
It was written to the lizard people. It was written to President Trump. So it's just like, it's hard to say it didn't happen because there's so many things about it.
If it didn't happen, then why would the U.S. CIA would have any interest in it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, why would anybody in the CIA written about it?
Yeah.
So it's crazy. You never know really what happened. It's strange. I wish that
but I guess there is a way to prove it. It's just hard.
Oh. Go find the boat.
But you don't even know where. You don't even know where it's sank. There's no location.
Yeah, that becomes impossible in some situations. Like finding something in the ocean.
Yeah,
that's like,
especially if you don't even know where it went. Yeah,
you don't even know exactly where it was when it sank. You don't even know. Like it's like there. That's basically impossible. It's like saying let's walk through someone's gonna put like a penny somewhere in the city of Detroit. And they're like, go find that penny. We think it was somewhere on this street, but we're not really sure. Go find it. That's basically.
We'll give you all of Metro Detroit.
Yeah. The entire downtown area. There's a penny in there somewhere, so go find it. There's plenty of other pennies around there, but we want this specific penny. All right, we want. So it's tough. Like that's impossible.
Maybe in the future we'll be able to map out the seafloor.
Yeah,
and find everything that's down there.
Yeah, maybe someday we'll come up with some sort of technology that can.
That'd be cool. Imagine what's under there.
I hope we can do that someday, where we can just
find like a crashed UFO
We'll find
ship
so much weird shit. I feel like if we can, if we can ever come up with a way to just like completely map out the entire bottom of the oceans, that we'd find some crazy shit.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. Like old ships, like lost ships.
Oh, one day, man.
One day. It would be crazy if like some of the mysterious ships that like have like been missing, and we mapped out the ocean and they still weren't there. That would be that'd be really like cool. Okay, then where are they? We mapped out the whole ocean.
Yeah, like the Bermuda, some of the Bermuda Triangle ships and stuff. Yeah, it's like okay, where the fuck are they? Yeah, man. It's just crazy, man. The Ourang Medan. I mean, I'm playing this video game. It's called the Man of Medan. It's actually pretty cool. It's one of those games where you like you don't actually play, but you kind of like make choices and like it's basically like playing a movie. It's kind of fun. And I've been playing this and it's about that. And at first, like I said, I didn't even realize that was a true story. I thought it was just made up by the video game, but like a lot of it is actually true. So yeah, I mean, both of these things are really interesting. Amelia Earhart, it's a big mystery, like what happened to her, where she's at. Yeah, what eventually happened? It's what
crazy. Happened to the babe in the sky?
Yeah, it's interesting. And then the Ourang Medan is just creepy, weird, like very creepy, mysterious. Like what?
They should definitely make a movie off this.
They should. I wonder if they have actually. I wonder if they made it. Maybe not like a Hollywood big time movie, but I bet you they made some sort of movie.
Yeah, I'm sure, but there's no. I feel like. If they made like a big Hollywood movie, I would go see it. Like make it like a CIA kind of like investigation. Like they find people on the ship, make it all mysterious.
Yeah,
like, what happened?
Yeah,
have like people like try to solve the mystery.
And they can even have it end differently. They can come up with an ending where they figure out what or something like that. They can, But that would be super interesting. Hollywood, get on that, please. I guess no one can make movies right now during the lockdown. But yeah, I would for sure go see a movie about the Ourang Medan. But yeah, both of these are just super interesting. Some crazy mysteries. As usual, we'll never know what happened in either of them. You just got to live life not knowing. And so I think next week, do we have anything planned for
we're gonna do Ancient Egypt.
Oh yeah, we're gonna redo our Ancient Egypt episode. Because that was episode 2, but we had some issues with the mic, so we're gonna go ahead and redo that episode and just talk about
the Sphinx and how the pyramids were built.
Mainly we're gonna focus on the Sphinx and the pyramids and like how they were built, that kind of stuff. Because there's a ton of mystery around that, and there's a lot of
like
theories.
How they built.
And yeah, just kind of talk about those things. We'll go into a little bit into like Egypt too, like the culture and the civilization, that kind of thing. But it's mainly about the pyramids and the Sphinx and how those were built, when they were built, why they were built, all kinds of questions. How they were built, really. That's the biggest one.
The biggest question.
Biggest question
of them all.
Yeah, the biggest question, how they were built. And then another pretty big question is when, which is actually, there's... we're going to get into it, but it turns out a lot of mainstream science is kind of reconsidering things in that department. So...
stay tuned.
Yeah, so stay tuned. We're going to get into that. And then, we'll continue coming up with mysteries from there. Eventually, we're going to talk about Skinwalker Ranch. We'll eventually do an episode, like we were saying earlier, about like cryptozoology, that kind of stuff. So, there's plenty more to come here from Mystery Bros.
We're gonna make sure that you have all the mysteries in your head that you will never sleep at night, because we're always gonna give you another mystery to think about that's not gonna be unsolved.
Yes.
We're just gonna throw you another one. Oh, you don't know what's gonna happen. Now you're gonna have to live with that one. We're gonna throw you another one. You're gonna have to live with.
We're always gonna have mysteries for you here at the Mystery Bros. So, thank you guys for listening, and tune in next week for the Egypt episode. And we're out. Peace.
Mystery Brothers.
Mystery Brothers.
Mystery
Mystery Bros.
Mystery Bros.
Mystery Bros.